Hello and welcome to Daniel class. We gave a couple intros back in the day, but we're going to call this class number 2. And it's chapter 1, verse 2. I don't know how the series is going to go, meaning if we're going to skip or go linear. As of now, we're going linear. I've already given the introduction. If you're new to the series, go listen to class number 1. And you'll figure it out from there. With that said, I do not intend to give a running introduction in this series. We're going to jump right in. And with Song of Songs following, I changed my system for that too. We're going to really run through Song of Songs. I'm not taking notes. I was going to take notes. We're going to open the book, and we're going to do it hardcore yeshivish in Hebrew. And when there's something interesting to explain, a nugget in English, I will put it in English. It's just the more you manufacture Song of Songs, you lose it. So we're going to keep it sublime. Daniel 1:2, the Lord delivered Yehoiakim. Can someone message Ross? I don't want Ross to miss this. Justin, somebody please message Ross. Give me a 1 or 2. Hello? Hello? There you go. The Lord delivered Yehoiakim, our new hero. He's not a nice guy, but we are interested in this Yehoiakim, which we'll say why momentarily. Okay. King of Judah, into his hand with some of the vessels of the temple of God. He brought them to the land of Shinar, to the temple of his God. And the vessels he brought into the treasure house of his God. Now, the way this works, and I'm really starting to like Daniel. Daniel is written with Iker terms. And Rav Sadia, and probably others, but we're going to call it Rav Sadia, is interested in the pshat of Daniel through a couple of different ways or techniques, or however you want to say it. One is to identify the Iker terms and to isolate them and clarify them and polish them. And the other, and we're going to see this theme throughout the entire book. How many of you have a rudimentary understanding of Jewish history? Because it is a prerequisite for this work. 1s or 2s? Anyone? Hello? 1s or 2s? Lars has a little bit. Let's go. Jacques, Justin, Addo, John, Minnie. Let's go. Got some 1s. Some 1s. 1s. All right. So let me explain it from my perspective and see if yours matches mine. How many of you can count up to the number 0? And you guys know this number 0? Type 1. What happened in the year 0? What happened in the year 0? Come on. Don't be shy. You know what happened. And don't say nothing. Come on. Let's go. Adam. Thank you. Adam is created in 0. What happens in 2000? What happened in 2000? In 2000, more specifically 1948. 2000. No, Abraham. Thank you, Jacques. Jacques 2 for 2. What happened in 2448? What happened in 2448? What happened in 2448? What happened in 2448? Sinai. Thank you, John. All right, so right now, what year is it now? 5778. So almost 6,000 years ago, Adam is born. 2,000 years after that, Abraham is born. 500 years after that is Sinai. Yes, we're estimating. 400 years after that, what happened? What happened 400 years after Sinai? 400 years after Sinai. Again, we're approximating. Temple and David. It's called David Solomon. Right? David, Solomon, first temple. Approximately how many years was the first temple? About 400. Right? I know there was more. We're estimating 410. Now, what happens after that 400 years? Does it get destroyed? Gets destroyed. Then you have 70 years of exile in Babylon. Then you have almost another 400 years of Second Temple. That gives you to the time of its destruction, and then 2,000 years ago it got destroyed. And then you had the Jewish time period of Judaism, the religion was born. And you have the Tanaim, the sages of the Talmud, for about a couple hundred years. Then you had another couple hundred years, the Amoraim, the sages, later sages of the Talmud. Then you had another couple hundred years, the Gaonim, which was the sages talking about the Talmud. And Sagia was one of those. Then you had the Rishonim, and they were your Rashi and Rambams, and they were commentarying on the Talmud and laying out the rules of the Talmud and how it works. Then you had the early Achronim, which was your friends like the Shulchan Aruch, Maral, early Shulchan Aruch commentaries, the Arizal, Kabbalah. Then you had the late Achronim, which was your Hasidic masters, the German scholars. And then you had going into the 20th century, and you have the Chafetz Chaim, Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Brisker Rav, and then in the late 80s and early 90s, the Achronim were done. Most would agree with that. The Gedolim were no more, and we were an abandoned generation. The first 10 years of the 2000s, the rest of the great sages were dying. And then some say that Achronim died off with Avadia Yosef. It is my personal opinion, there is one rabbi left in the world. Just one. Rabbi David Katz. Just joking. The last Gadol alive is Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, and his father was the Stipler. After him, there's really no one left of that caliber. That is the old school. Right after Rav Kanievsky, it's a different situation. You're looking at Rabbi Google, right? Rabbis literally going from having books in their homes and knowing them, like Justin met with Soloveitchik is one of those kind of guys. He's a throwback because of his father. And then today, literally, rabbis use the internet, right? Rav Moshe uses the internet. We saw him. So that's Jewish history on one foot. Now, if we look at Daniel is looking into the 70 years of Babylon because he is anticipating his own redemption, correct? Type 1. He is looking forward to the redemption. Now, I don't know if he knew it would be a partial redemption or a whole redemption. So I can't say what his expectations were, but he was looking to figure out when the 70 years would be, because they knew it would be 70 years. Just like we know that our exile will be super duper long. And they've known that. The sages of the Tanaim knew that, which is why they constructed Judaism, post-temple Judaism. We knew it would be long. It's not a surprise. Daniel knew it would be short. Not a surprise. So Daniel lives in Babylon. Daniel is your Bible scholar. More importantly or specifically, he understands prophecy. And as the Talmud says, he understands mazel. In fact, let's open up with that next week. Made myself a note. Okay. So Daniel understands how prophecy works and what it is. And in figuring out prophecy for his own time, it turns out Daniel understands prophecy for all of time, which is the coming of the Mashiach. So the time period that Daniel's looking at is the end of the first temple. Right? The first temple in the end was a prophetic pool of understanding all prophecy. Who was the main prophet concerning Daniel in the end of the first temple? You guys know? Who was the one who interacted with Yehoiakim? Hello? Jeremiah. So Daniel, in these beginning verses, is painting for us a very clear picture. We're looking at the end of the first temple. We're looking at Yehoiakim. We're looking at Nebuchadnezzar. We're looking at Jeremiah. And Daniel is reading and sculpting the view. Now, Rav Sadia gives us perspective. And what is interesting, if Daniel is the scribe, stringing together the story of these characters, why can't you people just read Daniel and get it? What are you missing? Remember from the class a couple days ago, is it the Hebrew you're missing? Or is it something else? You're missing the sources. You don't know. How many of you really know about Jeremiah? None of you. Because you did not go through the Tanakh and put together everything Jeremiah said through Chronicles and through Kings and through Daniel and through Jeremiah. You did not go and link it all together. So what Daniel has done as a master scholar of prophets, he knows all about Jeremiah, Yehoiakim, Nebuchadnezzar, and what the time period was about, because that was, you know how they say when Joseph went to Egypt, God was getting ready for Mashiach. When the temple, the second temple, was destroyed, Mashiach was born. This is one of those things. This little episode with Jeremiah, Yehoiakim, and Nebuchadnezzar was very messianic. The very seeds of Messiah were there. And Daniel had an invested interest for himself to figure out when Babylon was going to end, and it has import for the end days. So what Rav Sadia Gaon is doing, so far as I can see, is he's stringing together the sources. Remember, Jacques? So don't read Torah, read source. So Rav Sadia is giving us those sources. And it looks like that's what the commentaries of Daniel are about. Everybody wants to read Daniel to get enlightenment for, oh, now I know when Mashiach's coming. What nobody wants to do is the hard work. They don't want to read the sources, learn the sources, and then understand what Daniel was looking at before they start guessing about the arrival time of Mashiach predicated on a red moon.